Expression authoring tool is based on a conventional three-tier architecture: a web tier, a services tier, and a data tier. The web tier provides the presentation layer with which the GELLO Expression authoring tool users interact. It receives incoming HTTP requests and invokes the requested service from the authoring tool's services tier. Based on the results of the operation, the web tier presents a view for the client browser to render. The authoring tool utilizes the HTTP protocol to send and receive all data between the authoring tool and the end user. To provide a responsive interface, the authoring tool presentation layer uses AJAX technology. The web tier also provides a SOAP interface, which supports an API to search and exchange expressions with the repositories of other GELLO Expression authoring tools. The authoring tool's data tier persists GELLO expressions, test cases, test results, account information, configuration data, audit logs, and so on. The data tier is split across three different persistence stores. An LDAP server stores authentication and security information. A version control system stores project and expression source files. And a relational database stores account information, audit information, and other transaction-oriented information. The source code services provide support for source code management and communication. These services make it easy to search, monitor, and share source code between projects. In particular, the source code services support the ability to browse expressions and related source files, view source change set and patch information, automatically update RSS feeds and send emails for changed source files, perform diff operations between source files, perform simple and structured query searches on the source repository, and add and view source annotations. The GELLO Expression authoring tool provides a set of core development services that make it easy to develop and manage GELLO expressions, GELLO expression test cases, and other content. In particular, the tool provides a project-based development environment with a hierarchical project explorer. Each component of a project, for example, a GELLO expression, a test case for an expression, or properties for a project, has an editor to create and edit the contents of the component. The GELLO Runtime Services encompass the GELLO execution system and the GELLO compiler. It is responsible for compiling GELLO source code into executable Java code and for executing compiled GELLO code. The services are broken up into the following components: compiled modules, which contain compiled GELLO source code in the form of executable Java code; the GELLO executor, which executes compiled GELLO code against an application-provided model and returns the resulting GELLO value; GELLO requirements, which contain any dependencies that the GELLO expression has upon the model. For example, if a GELLO expression is testing for a specific observation that has a specific code, the GELLO requirements would be populated with the proper information that a data layer could use to locate the specific observations in the AHR related to that GELLO expression. The model, which is a Java class model representing the EHR components necessary to compile and evaluate GELLO code. This model need not be a complete representation of, for example, the HL7 RIM, or Reference Information Model. If GELLO expressions were designed to only interact with a subset of the RIM, then only that subset would necessarily need to be present in the model. Only the structure of the model accessed within the GELLO expressions are required to be in this model. And finally, the data layer, which is the subsystem designed to populate the model at runtime with the appropriate subset of an EHR necessary to evaluate a selection of GELLO expressions. There are several other miscellaneous services that are part of the authoring tool. These services provide support for account administration, configuration management, printing, data interchange, product status and approval state management, and metadata management. The collaborators decided early in the project to leverage several mature open source projects to provide a stable basis for the authoring tool and to fast-track development and reduce development costs. For example, the web tier utilizes two Apache Foundation projects, Apache for the HTTP server and Axis for the SOAP infrastructure. Our role-based security infrastructure is based upon Open LDAP. LDAP provides a standard directory interface supporting authentication and access privileges. An LDAP server makes it easy for disparate systems to support single sign-on type operations. This support will prove useful as the GELLO project matures and it becomes necessary for a person logged into one GELLO repository to search or import expressions from another repository. We also tightly coupled the Subversion revision control system into the authoring tool. Subversion is the most popular and stable version control system for open source projects, and it is suitable for supporting large numbers of distributed users. Subversion manages all source file management operations for the authoring tool, including locking, committing, versioning, branching, tagging, and symbolic linking. The selection of Subversion also makes it easy for deployments of the authoring tool to be backed up. Lastly, we selected the MySQL Relational Database Management System for all our transactional and relational data. MySQL is a trusted open source database for many enterprise deployments, including Yahoo, Nokia, and Alcatel. These open source software systems enabled the GELLO team to focus on the core issues of bringing a full-featured development tool to the community rapidly, rather than spending time developing these subsystems from scratch. Also, since these tools are very popular in the open source community, it is our hope that the new contributors to the GELLO project will leverage them in the future. We're leveraging a number of other open source projects in developing this one. To name just a few, we're using Subversion as our source code repository system for the development environment. Mysql is our relational database. Apache is running as our web server. By taking advantage of existing open source software, we're able to accelerate our development cycle while reducing our total costs. One last thing, we're not trying to say that GELLO is the end-all and be-all solution for healthcare. We've actually tried to stay fairly agnostic about choosing an expression language. GELLO seems to be the best fit, though we know it has limitations. The important thing is to choose one and take it as far as we can. If another more suitable lingua franca becomes available, we can move to that language standard instead. I hope you've enjoyed the tour and see why we're excited about the potential of creating a common approach to clinical queries. All that's left now is for you to join in the fun. For more information on how to get involved, please contact us at info@gello.org or visit our website at www.gello.org. Thanks for listening.
Together we can change the world, but no measure of passion or strength can prevail. If we go it alone, we will surely fail. That's why I say HL7 is the way to break the walls down. Get connected now, charge it up, make it go.